But hey, no, you're not barking. You can lay down or calm down. Open up our feet, turn our toes to the corners of the mat. Reach up and find our bar. And exhale as we slide down imaginary wall. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Just building up a little heat in our bodies today. Exhaling down and inhaling up. Oh, big mistake. Don't leave your shoes on the floor with a puppy. Okay. I think today's going to be yoga with a puppy. He's making some moonflowers. And then shifting that to some sunflowers, hinging at the hips, reaching to the floor. We're going to make a big circle. Touch our thumbs. Exhale down, touch our pinkies. Keeping our back flat. And if you saw the moon this week, it was one of the biggest full moons of the year. So we're drawing the moon around us. Taking one more breath here. And exhaling, stepping into mountain with our feet hip distance apart and our toes pointed forward. We're just going to close our eyes and bring our hands to our heart. Taking a few deep breaths. Feeling the heat in our body and feeling our heart beat if we can. And taking a moment to just acknowledge ourselves. It's a good time for self-reflection. We made it here today. We're present. And that time for ourselves right now is so important. Taking one more breath here. And then taking a big breath in and up, hinging at the hips, forward fold, coming down to the floor, softening our knees, and then coming onto hands and knees with our hands under our shoulders and our knees under our hips, moving through some cow and cat. So inhaling as we arch the spine looking up, and exhaling as we tuck the pelvis and roll through our vertebrae, rolling up and down. Taking one more breath here. And finding our flat back and pressing our hips back into child's pose. Walking our arms out long in front of us and stretching through our fingers as we press down onto the floor. Inhaling, bringing shoulders over hands, coming into kneeling plank with our hips low. And then exhaling back to child's pose. Just flowing back and forth between these two with our breath. Honoring our journey on our yoga mat today. And then next time we come forward, holding our kneeling plank. And then exhaling as we lower all the way down to the floor. Taking a baby cobra, inhaling as we lift the crown of the head just barely. And then exhaling back to child's pose. Moving through these four poses, inhaling into kneeling plank, exhaling down to the floor, inhaling into a baby cobra, maybe coming a little higher each time, and then exhaling back to child's pose. Taking one more breath here. Returning to child's pose. And then walking our hands under our shoulders, and we're going to come up onto our knees and then turn sideways along our mat. So we're on our knees, and if you like a little extra cushion, you can put a blanket or something under our knees. We're going to extend our right foot out and then turn our toes forward so they're perpendicular to the long side of the mat or parallel to the short side of the mat. Inhaling up and then hinging over to the left, coming into gate, and we're going to flow our gate. Inhaling up, back to the right, exhaling back to the left. Flowing side to side. Finding that big reach. And the next time our left hand's on the floor, we're going to plant it there. And with our right hand, make a big circle, sweeping down to the floor, inhaling up, and exhaling as we close the circle. And then feeling this through our shoulder and opening our heart as we come up to the ceiling. So feeling that long reach and open, inhaling up and over. And then switching direction of that circle, inhaling overhead, exhaling as we lower down. And taking one more breath here, and then stacking our hands. And then we're going to lift our right foot up. So we're finding a kneeling, balancing half moon. And we can either stay here or we can have a little flow with our legs, whichever's feeling better. Exhaling down, inhaling up, feeling tight through our belly to help support and stabilize that line. And taking one more breath here. Inhaling as we come back to center, and exhaling as we bring our right knee in. Extend our left leg out, inhale up, and then exhale, dropping our right hand down. Finding our same flowing gait, inhaling up and over. Moving through side to side, feeling that length through the side of the body. And the next time our right hand is on the floor, planting it down, and then with our left hand, making those same big circles. Rotating and opening through the shoulder, opening up our lungs and our heart. Noticing our breath. And becoming aware of how we're feeling. Switching direction, inhaling as we overhead, and exhale as we circle. And taking one more big circle, stacking our hands, finding that nice straight line, and then inhale, lifting the left foot up, flexing through the foot, and either holding our kneeling half moon, or adding that little flow, that lift and lower. Taking one more breath here. And once we land with our foot, inhaling back to upright, exhaling as we bring our knee back underneath us, turning along the long edge of the mat. And then walking our hands out, but pressing our shoulders down, and then bringing our forehead to the mat with our head high, finding a melting heart. Melting our heart into the floor. And then giving ourselves some sort of intention today. In class, I want to just be fully present. Notice that I have thoughts and let them wash over me. And then coming back up, tucking our toes under our feet and pressing our heels into the floor, lifting our hips and finding our down dog. Pedaling out our feet and finding as much length as we can through the upper body. So pressing our ears between our elbows, pressing our heels down, feeling the length of the backs of the legs, rocking side to side, maybe wagging our tail, and then lifting and lowering the heels. And then we're going to take a seat today and do a little bit of alternate nostril breathing just to bring our body into balance. So sitting tall and either taking an index finger and middle finger or one finger. I like to put them right in between my two eyebrows, but whatever feels good to you. And then I use my thumb and my ring finger to alternate nostrils. So just closing our eyes and then closing the left nostril, inhaling through the right. Closing the right and exhaling through the left. Inhaling through the right, closing, and then exhale through the left. And continuing on this pattern where we switch, exhale, and then inhale, and switch again. Taking one or two more breaths here on either side. And then just returning back to normal breath, keeping tall. Closing our eyes. Noticing where in our lungs is that oxygen going? Can we send it to the deepest part of our lungs? Can we fill all space? Taking one more breath here. And then making our way back onto our hands and knees with our hands under our shoulders and our knees under our hips. Tucking our toes, pressing our heels down, lifting our hips. And once again, returning to down dog. And then gently walking our feet into our hands, softening our knees. And inhale as we unhinge, circle sweep our arms, coming into mountain. And then exhale, we're going to flow into a flowing chair. Exhaling down, inhaling back up. Pulling in with the belly, hinging at the hips, finding that nice long line through the upper body. And if we want a little extra work, we could bring our arms into it. Exhaling as we come down, inhaling as we come up. And whatever feels good in the body with our chair. Taking one more breath here. And coming back into mountain, rolling our shoulders away, back and down. And then opening up our stance hip distance apart. And maybe let's rock front to back. Feel our weight shift. And if we can do this, closing our eyes. Noticing our balance kicking in. And then going side to side, seeing how far can we lean before we're going to fall over. And then taking our right hand up to the sky, finding lateral flexion, inhaling up, lengthening through the side body, and exhaling down, switching sides as we inhale up through the left, and exhale down, flowing up and down. Taking one more breath on either side. And then lacing our fingers behind our back and opening up for some chest expansion. Pressing our palms away from us and lifting up our pinky behind us. And seeing if we can, when we're up here, then relax the shoulders. So we're pulling down and really opening through just the chest, opening up our sternum, getting our lungs as wide as we can. So today, instead of a sun salutation, we're going to do a moon salutation. For a moon salutation, if we have a block, we might want that. It's a little bit of balancing work, but we move through it and we breathe, and it's a very flowing thing. So we're going to start by turning our toes out into five-pointed star, inhaling up, and just taking some moonflowers. Exhaling down our imaginary wall, inhaling up, straight spine. Imagine we're leaning down. If we peek down, we can see our toes tracking underneath our knees. Taking one more breath here. And then the next time we come down, we're going to hold this, coming into goddess pose, extending our hands out, palms up. And then on an inhale, turning to our right side, lifting our left heel and finding a lunge. Inhaling up, and as we exhale, lifting our left foot off the floor, finding warrior three. Inhaling as we come back, dropping that heel down, exhaling into our moonflower. Taking a few moonflowers, exhaling down. The next time we come down, we're holding that out and opening up into goddess. Palms up. Taking a breath in, lifting the right heel and rotating over to the left side. Getting ready to lift our right heel, inhaling as we reach up, finding our warrior three on this side. Inhaling as we cartwheel back up, find our five-pointed star and exhale down. So whatever pace we're breathing, we're moving through our moon salutation. Inhaling into each new pose. And this is a modified moon salutation. We could also add a half balancing moon, where when we're in our goddess or warrior three, opening up to the side, and then inhaling back, exhaling down. So just some variations to practice. Moving with our breath. Seeing if we can try for that balancing half moon. Finding balance on either side. I didn't do, I'm balancing out my equal numbers of balancing half moon. So taking one more flow through both sides of this, lifting that heel and turning to our lunge, inhaling up into our warrior three, opening up into our balancing half moon. Whew. Inhaling back up, exhaling down. Taking one last time on either side. And coming back up. Sliding our feet together. And rolling our shoulders back. Opening our heart. And just noticing, where do we feel this in our body? Maybe somewhere different than we feel the sun salutation. For me, it's a lot deeper. It's more low lungs, the lower lobes of my lungs. But everybody experiences things different. So seeing, can we feel where in our body the moon salutation goes to? Where do we experience that the most? Taking one more breath here. And then we're going to open up our feet nice and wide, but turn our left foot perpendicular. Inhaling, making a big circle. Exhale as we sink our right knee and coming into warrior two. Gazing over the left or the right hand. Looking down. And taking a flow side to side, inhaling to the right, exhaling back to center. We're going to add a lunge with that, inhaling back, exhaling as we straighten. And the next time we're forward, holding that hinge, dropping our right hand and bringing our left out, finding a side angle. And taking another big inhale, extending the right leg long and shifting into triangle, looking up over to the left hand. Taking one more breath here, and then inhaling, unwind, soften the right knee, roll all the way back, find our reverse warrior. Right hand overhead, left hand behind us. Taking one more breath. And then we're going to cartwheel down, framing our right foot and stepping back with our left and taking any form of a vinyasa flow. So we could be in child's pose, we could do a modified vinyasa, we could come from plank down to chaturanga, inhaling up to up dog, lifting our knees, tucking our toes, coming back to down dog, and then walk, hop, or step our feet back into our hands, soften our knees, circle sweep our arms up into mountain, exhaling down, opening again nice and wide. This time turning the right foot forward and the left parallel, inhaling up. And exhale as we sink into our warrior two on this side. Finding a nice wide stance, knee is over our foot. And adding that reach, hinging forward, exhaling as we come back up and straightening the left knee. Feeling that reach and shift. And then holding this next one, dropping our left hand and our right overhead, finding side angle. Taking one more breath here. And then extending the left leg long, hinging a little bit more and looking up to the right hand as we find triangle. Taking one more breath here and then bending our left knee, inhaling as we unwind all the way back to warrior, reverse warrior, right hand back, left hand overhead. Maybe our hands behind our back. Taking one more breath here. Unwinding back to our warrior two, lifting our right hand as we inhale up. Right heel coming up, framing our left foot and stepping back into down dog. Taking any form of vinyasa flow. Maybe we're taking a modified flow this time as we come through plank. Hovering down chaturanga, inhaling up dog or cobra. Exhaling back to child's pose. Returning to our down dog and walk, hop, or jump our feet into our hands. Inhale halfway up, all the way around. And exhaling back, open up our toes, returning to our wide stance. Inhale up. Exhale, sliding down into a few moonflowers. Taking one more breath like this. And then exhale, we're going to hinge forward. So finding a flat back with our arms wide, or we can reach to the floor. We want to try to keep our spine as straight as possible. We can rest our hands on our thighs or rest them down or open up into an airplane. Taking a few breaths here. So feeling that pull in through our belly and in through our inner thighs. And then as we inhale, taking our left hand down to our right ankle and lifting our right hand. Taking one more breath here, exhaling as we bring our right hand over to the left ankle, and inhale as we open up the left shoulder. Taking one more breath here, and then coming back down, maybe walking our feet out a little bit wider. And starting to set our hands down, hinging further and further, we're going to bring the top of our head down onto the mat. So wherever that might be, that we can find the place. Now we can support this with our elbows, or if it's too far, we can just keep our hands down and let our upper body hang, and see if we can just shift our weight a little bit front and back, feeling that weight in the top of our head. Feeling that stretch in the back of our legs, or we could always just drop our elbows down and hold here. So finding the place that this wide leg stretch works and feels good. Taking one more breath here. Pressing our palms in, and then heel toeing our feet back in. Heel toe. And the next time we find our heels in a little bit wider than hip distance, we're going to lower our hips down and walk our feet in so that we can find a place where our heels are down, and then lifting the crown of our head, bringing our palms together, finding garland. And heels down if they're not down. Maybe we want to put something underneath them, like a blanket or a towel, so we can put a little weight into our heels and help support our upper body. Opening up our elbows to press against the knees, bringing our chest high, our crown as high as we can go. And then we're going to work our way into crow today, or prepping for crow today. Wherever we go is a success. So placing our palms down on the floor and then lifting our heels up. So finding this place, and then with a knee, we're going to push against the back of the tricep, the back of the upper arm. So just starting by squeezing our knee against those muscles. I'm showing you from the side, but if I turn from the front, there's that squeeze. I'm squeezing, and this might be a good prep for a crow. Feeling that strength, and then we're pushing back with our arms. So both the arms and the inner thighs are working. So feeling that squeeze, lifting our hips a little higher. We're going to start to build a shelf with our upper arm, shifting our weight into the front of our hands, and then walk it back. So feeling that lift. Our weight is coming forward, lifting our heels, and then going back into the floor with the heels. We're trying that a few times. And maybe each time we're going a little bit higher. And if we feel good about it, we can lift our toes and come into crow. And if you're there even just for that little second, you got a crow, man. That's awesome. Something to feel good about. Finding whatever version of crow feels good. Maybe it's just that rocking, that prep, the squeezing of the knees against the backs of the arms. Taking one more here. Rocking back. And then we're going to come down onto our back. We bring our feet together, sole to sole. And then let our knees flap out a little bit. Release any tension in our legs. Inhale. Exhale. Taking one more breath with both hands out to the sides. And exhaling as we come to heart center. We're going to hinge forward, bringing our nose toward our feet, wherever it will go. And maybe we want to let our hands rest on our feet. We're not going to pull ourselves down. We're just letting our body go to wherever it goes. Taking one more breath here. Inhaling as we come back up. Stacking our vertebrae, and at an angle, we're going to extend our right foot out and bring our left foot in. So it's about 45 degrees out from where our squared body is sitting, exactly in between straight forward and straight sideways. Flexing with our foot, so our toes are pointed up. We're going to take a big breath in, and then hinge toward the foot. So keeping our shoulders square, and our left hand reaching toward the toe overhead. Taking some deep breaths. And since we did moon salutations, imagine we're sitting in the moonlight on a beautiful night. Maybe there's some crickets or frogs or cicadas. Inhaling as we come back up. Exhaling as we let that arm down, then bringing both hands up. Inhaling, rotating over the right leg, and exhaling as we hinge forward, bringing our nose toward our right knee. Still flexing through the foot. And becoming aware, where do we feel this in our body, in our legs, in our back? Where is the stretch happening the most for us? Taking one more breath here, inhaling as we come back up. And then switching feet, bringing our left foot out and our right foot in. Sitting tall, flexing through the left foot. Inhaling as we reach up with the right hand and hinging through the left side body as we reach our right hand toward that foot, wherever we can go. Keeping our shoulders and chest forward. Closing our eyes, turning our chin up, feeling that open lungs. Puppy's barking in his sleep. Taking one more breath here. Inhaling back to upright. Exhaling as you release the arms, and then lifting both hands up, rotating over the left leg, and exhaling as we hinge forward. Bringing our nose toward our knee, wherever it can go. And again, drawing some awareness, where are we noticing this work in our body? Where do we feel it? Inhaling as we release and come back to upright. And then walking our feet in front of us for staff pose, sitting tall. Inhaling up. Exhaling as we hinge forward, bringing our hands toward our feet and our nose toward our knee. And maybe it feels good to kind of walk our knees up and down and then press through the heels and find a deep stretch there. And wherever our arms can go, letting them just be there so that we can actively feel that stretch. And just notice, what is my body capable of today? Maybe it's more than normal, maybe it's less. Taking one more breath here. Releasing the hands and inhaling as we come back to upright. And then we're going to make our way into boat. So grabbing the backs of our thighs, lifting our spine straight, and then letting us unhinge. Feeling that pull on the backs of the thighs. And maybe we want to just lift our heels and tap down with our toes. Or maybe we want to flex through the feet and lift the feet up parallel to the floor. We have so many options in boat. We can stay here. We can stay here. We can open up our palms. We can extend our feet and toes. Whatever variation of a boat feels good. We feel work in our abs, some heat in our abs. We feel it more in the legs. Support the body a little bit more. We want to feel it more in the belly. If we feel it in the back, coming a little bit higher. Finding the place that we're working our boat. Taking one more breath, and then rocking forward, landing our feet, inhaling up. Exhaling as we round the spine. Gently making our way onto our back, and then walking our feet under our knees. Placing our hands outside our hips, tucking our hips, and inhaling as we roll up into bridge. Bringing our hips as high as we can. Our belly is working, our glutes are working, our hamstrings and quadriceps are working. We're working here, 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 all those areas. And listening to our body. Is one muscle working harder than another? Can we engage its counter muscle? If the quads are working, can we pull in the hamstrings and the glutes a little bit more? So that all those groups of muscles are working in tandem together. Taking one more breath here. And as we exhale, slowly coming back down. Releasing the hands and opening up our palms to the ceiling and our shoulders nice and wide on the floor. And then letting our knees fall to one side. Inhaling as we come back and go to the other side. Finding a nice gentle twist through either side. Maybe looking in the opposite direction as those knees go. Coming back to center. And then extending our left leg long and pressing down with our right foot, lifting our right hip. And as we inhale, twisting over to the side, we're going to keep our shoulders down and look back to the right arm. And we can reach with our left hand to the thigh. We want to make sure both shoulders stay on the floor as we look back for a supine spinal twist. Inhaling as we rotate back to center, readjusting our hips, walking our left foot in and extending our right leg long and pushing down with the left foot. Inhaling as we bring the hip up and over and looking back over the right hand. Shoulders staying down, feeling that nice twist in our back. And as we exhale, just letting go. Taking one more breath here. Inhaling as we gently rotate back to center, readjust our hips, and bring our foot back in. Open up our knees wide and let our knees fall together, and just find a restorative bridge, letting our thighs rest against one another. Closing our eyes and surrendering to this moment. Shh. And then taking the counter stretch to this, opening up the knees and bringing the feet sole to sole, and letting the knees open out against the floor with our feet touching, finding a supine butterfly. Taking one more breath here. Shh. And then walking our feet back up and setting up for whatever pose we'd like for final relaxation. Maybe we want to stay in our butterfly or in our restorative bridge, or maybe we'd like to walk our legs out long and find a shavasana. Any variation of a pose that feels good and is restorative and relaxing. I'm going to take a moment or two here to just rest. Close our eyes. Feel that sinking of our breath and our body into the floor. Shh, Tyler. Slowly becoming aware of our breath and our body and our presence back. I'm reading a quote from Brene Brown. Owning our story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing that we'll ever do. I love that quote. I feel like it's a great way to end our class as we are working through this process of being at home and being quarantined, loving ourselves, finding the space to love ourselves through this process. And taking another moment here, and when we're ready, rolling onto one side, and then making our way up into a seated position, stacking our vertebrae, sitting tall. And making our same moon, taking a breath as we reach out with our thumbs, connecting them overhead, drawing the moon, and then connecting our other fingers. And imagining we're bringing all of that love into our palms and coming into our hearts. Loving ourselves. May you find love for yourself today and every day. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. Happy Thursday. Have a great weekend. Have a wonderful spring break.